Welcome to the Ogre and the Troll podcast number 2.
Which one of us is the ogre?
I don't think we figured that one out yet. We'll get back to you. So where were we last time?
I think last time we had stopped right before the band formed.
So I was in California.
But I don't think we had met at this point.
I came out here in 2013 and I was down in Santa Fe. Then I moved up to Santa Rosa later on.
In 2013?
The boss I was working for Best Buy, and he liked my work ethic and wanted to take me with him. So he took me with him. And that was nice.
That's how you landed up here then?
Yeah, that's how I ended up here.
Yeah, I think in 2013, I was still working at Kmart.
Kmart?
Yeah, interestingly enough.
That's a name. Kmart is founded in my home state of Michigan.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
It was Sears that was there, or it was...
Well, Sears was there, but Kmart was its own company.
I thought Sears owned them.
No. Sears didn't own Kmart. They may have bought some of the stores when Kmart decided to go kaputski, but Kmart was its own company. It was like a Walmart or a Meijer or something like that.
Yeah, the one that I worked at was owned by Sears, so maybe it was just a few of them. Yeah,
it could have been. They started going bankrupt, I think, in like 2012.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. They were not long for the world after
the
that.
Beginning of the slow descent, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so I was working there, and I transferred from being a cashier to being a garden department associate. Garden and electronics were basically the same area.
To have the garden and electronics.
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting layout thinking about it. But
okay,
they were right next to each other.
Mm-hmm.
And so my buddy Chris, who introduced us, he was the manager of the garden department.
Manager?
Yeah, I mean, as close as you can be to a manager, at that store.
I never would have pictured him as
not like a front lead, but I guess they had certain associates who were like the heads of the departments, or whatnot. So he was the garden department and the electronics were almost like the same department, which is crazy.
So he was the manager of the garden department?
Yeah. Yeah. And I guess
okay,
from what I remember, we would alternate between garden and electronics depending on.
That's a weird dynamic to go from gardening to electronics.
Well, we also
growing things or playing video games.
Well, we also had the seasonal department that we had to take care of, which was literally adjacent to those two. So, I mean, this is just because we were like wildly understaffed. So you had like,
as is most retail places,
2 or 3 people at any given time, had to handle 3 departments, which was its own special brand of nightmare. But yeah, after I transferred to that area, that's where I met Chris. And he was into metal. I was into metal. And we just became friends and started hanging out outside of work. And eventually he left to go to Best Buy.
That's where I met him.
Yeah.
Okay. Man, that's a short amount of time. 2013 to 2014. That doesn't seem like that long of a time to, for someone to jump ship and go to a completely different, because Best Buy is such a different environment than retail like Kmart. Because I used to work in a Meijer, but
yeah,
that's just weird. It's just weird.
Now you guys met, I think, shortly after he left Kmart.
He was in car audio, the guys with the bumping stereos.
Yeah,
that's what he was. He was an associate in the store for that. I had joined as a home theater associate, so selling people TVs. Because it's a TV. It's not like it's that hard.
I don't know, man.
Just start naming off the bells and whistles. Doesn't this picture look great?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not much of a sales guy. I'd rather get you something that works than try and sell you something you don't need.
Well, 80% of the damn TVs all look the same anyway.
Yeah. You're not. Most folks aren't really going to notice a difference.
It's like, is this $2,000 extra I'm going to spend on this TV really worth that?
There are some of the new ones that are coming out that, could sear the back of your eyeballs because they're so bright. But yeah, that's the new stuff. Anyway.
Yeah. So after Chris had left, I think I had left Kmart not too long after that and gone to Napa.
You were driving for Napa.
Yeah, I was delivering parts. And he was over at my house one day, and I had my guitar, and I was just playing a couple of riffs, you know? And I started playing the riff from Holy Diver, the Killswitch Engage cover.
Yeah, that's a good song. Good song.
And he wanted to take a video of it, so whatever, you know, he took a video, and I was just doing my shit, just riffing, you know? And why don't you pick it up from there?
Oh, okay. So I had, you know, did the cardinal sin of dating a coworker. Won't be doing that again. We won't talk about that. Anyway, she and I were hanging out with Chris, and he was just showing us different music that he was into. And, you know, he found out I was into metal. I was trying to keep it low key because, you know, I move out here. Nobody knows who I am. Nobody knows As Empires Decay. Nobody knows All Else Fails because we never made it out this far. But so I was keeping everything kind of on the down low about how much into music I had been. And he just said, well, are you into this type of metal, this type of metal? And I said, sure, yeah. And we listened to a couple of tracks. And then he puts a video up on there. He says, oh, this is my buddy Nick up on the TV. And he says, check it out. And I did what I always do. You know I do this because you've caught me doing it. Whenever something is playing, that some kind of music that I enjoy, I'll start humming along. And if I really know the words to it, I'll start singing along. And yeah, he caught me singing along to the melody because I know the words to Holy Diver. It's a great song. Howard Jones is an amazing vocalist. So I started singing along to Holy Diver, and he stopped the video and he goes, you got to meet my friend Nick. I think you two could make great music. And then I said, sure. And that was the end of the conversation. Months went by before I ever heard anything else of it. You know, I hadn't met you at that point. I was like, yeah, sure. Introduce me. And nothing came of it.
Yeah.
But
for a minute,
it is what it is.
Well, I think I walked into Best Buy one day while you were there.
Okay.
And I don't remember whether or not I had gone there to meet you or if maybe I was buying something and I just wanted to say what up to Chris or something.
Sure.
Figured maybe he'd be there because he was working there at the time. So it's like around like the middle of the store, and he and I were just shooting the breeze or whatever. And you were there.
I was working in computers, I think, at that point.
Yeah, that had to have been it. Yeah, because we were around that section. So you got to tell him about the moment that we met because yeah, this is great.
So Chris walks up and he says, he does the head flip thing. He did the guy thing, the head flip. Titus, like that. And I acknowledged him. Hey, what's going on? And he motioned for me to come over. And he looked at me, looked at Nick, and he goes, Rick, Nick, Rick, I'm out. And he turned and walked away.
Shout out to Chris Carty for that one. You telling that story gets funnier every time I hear it, honestly.
Well, that's how I remember it. It was just, I was so just flabbergasted that he just turned and walked away.
Yep.
You know, he didn't say, you know, this is my friend that I've known for this long, that nothing. Just, you know, 1, 2, 3, I'm out. So
he just really left us hanging.
Yeah. So. Yeah. We both did the guy thing, you know, where we look at our feet and kind of kick the floor. Hey, what are you into? What kind of stuff do you like?
Right.
That kind of stuff. You know, two dudes meeting for the first time. But I can't remember how we ended that conversation. I don't remember if I gave you
it was a link to some portfolio that you had. I think it might have even been a SoundCloud.
Yeah, it had to have been a SoundCloud.
Yeah, because the conversation we had was under the, I don't know if auspices is the right word, but we were, you know, he wanted us to talk so that we would think about starting a project together.
Sure.
And I was like, well, I don't know this guy. I don't know what he's about.
Well, you were still in Nuclear Tempest at the time. I mean, that was still a thing.
Yeah, I was ready to start another project because I wanted to pursue a different flavor of band. because
Sure.
Tempest was starting to get like a little bit harder, a little bit more, deathcore sounding type stuff, which I eventually got into later. But at that point, it was kind of like, well, I'm not really into this. I was firmly entrenched in the more like metalcore sounding. I didn't want to sound like
kill switch engage.
Yeah, I didn't want to sound like as evil. I wanted to sound like melodic and stuff. But so I wanted to start my own thing with a different vibe.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that I had actually come there to meet you that day, because I remember just thinking like, yeah, whatever, like this dude's probably just some other Yahoo who like thinks he's good at music and, wants to start a band and whatever. And I'm very picky about who I play music with, because I'm not going to waste my time. It's like there's a certain level of seriousness that I need to see before I can invest in it, because I don't want to spend time like catering to people who just don't have the discipline to be as good as they can at their instruments or whatever. But I mean, that's whatever. But I just was like, all right, yeah, dude, give me the link to your shit. Like, I'll check it out, whatever. And then I didn't expect anything to come of it. And that day we had talked about some of our influences or whatever. And we're like, oh, Kill Switch Engage, Trivium, all that kind of thing. Like, we're kind of on the same wavelength. So I was like, all right, we'll see what's up. And then I went back and listened to the demo and I was like, holy shit. I was like, this dude is exactly what I'm looking for in a singer. Like, you had the whole gamut from the ability to do the low to the high screams and actually like singing, and so it fit perfectly with what I was looking for.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
I
worked real hard. I worked real hard because I think I remember when we were talking last podcast, I had mentioned that I had hurt myself and was not feeling at all very good after I had quit that project.
Mm-hmm.
In the interim between that project and moving out here, I had gone and gotten some vocal training, because someone had turned me on to Melissa Cross and her Zenn of Screaming stuff. And that was the first time I had been, it was the first time I really had been a part of something that spoke to how I was doing things. And so I threw myself into it, because whether I ever pursued music again, because I had told you by that time I was done.
Yeah.
If I ever pursued music again, I wanted to do it from a healthful place and to where I had control over my mechanism. Not only that, she teaches you not just to scream properly as a vocalist, she teaches you how to talk properly and not hurt yourself. And the difference between vocalizing and because so many people, when they scream with their full voice. And I remember talking to her and she said, "You have a microphone. Why the fuck aren't you letting it do its work?"
Yeah, it's a good point.
Because that is everything, the amplification. It doesn't matter how you can make it sound one way, but if it's not amplified, you can be the quietest person on the face of the earth and sound like a beast because it's amplified correctly. And she said, let the microphone do its work. And from that point on, I learned, don't try and compete with the guys doing instruments. You have volume knobs. I don't.
Yeah, I think a lot of people who aren't in the know don't realize that doing screaming vocals isn't about projecting the most volume possible in the same way that you would if you were screaming and shouting.
Don't get me wrong. It helps.
Yeah, and some people can really do that. But the way I look at it is that it's like an effect. It's like a distortion on your voice.
100%.
And the tricky part is that you can very easily do it wrong and
hurt yourself,
blow your voice out, really do some damage.
Yep. I'm quite familiar with that.
Yeah, I've heard a lot about Melissa's stuff over the years, and I've heard nothing but good things.
She knows what she's doing. And I went to a seminar that she appeared at. It was just a seminar with like 50 some people. It was a really small, kind of intimate thing, but she was talking about that and got to meet her and all that fun stuff. But,
cool. So you took a few lessons with her, didn't you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I learned quite a bit from that lady. She's very, very good at what she does.
Shout out Melissa Cross. One of these years,
Knows
I'll
her
buy
stuff.
that damn DVD and actually do all the
I still have
the
it if you want
exercises.
it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I probably need it too, because my screaming has been, it's never something that I've really studied in depth. It's just kind of, I did it until I could make the noise. And then I was like, okay, well,
We're good.
I guess this is how I do it. For me, it can actually be kind of difficult sometimes to do, especially after I haven't done it for a while. And I think that my technique probably needs a good bit of work.
But it's just like you're proficient at guitar. I learned to be proficient at my instrument. It just so happens my instrument comes with me everywhere I go.
Right.
So I'll be walking. You've heard me. I'll walk around the house and just
Yeah. Well, maintenance is a real thing.
Oh yeah.
You know,
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Now I do, and I'm the better for it.
Well, it's a thing for guitar players too, but it's even more of a thing for vocalists because you are your instrument.
Yep.
You know.
So after meeting from Cardi and his 1, 2, 3, I'm out.
It was just like, hey, I listened to your stuff. I really liked what I heard. I'm working on some stuff, but I didn't have anything ready to go.
Yeah.
Because by the time, I think I may have finished Lorem and then sent it to you.
No.
Because that was the first song that I wrote for us.
Well, but that didn't come till much later because Zenn was in the band by that point. And that brings us to Zenn. Like you and I had met and hung out, but I remember us talking about we need a third person. We need somebody else to kind of push this forward because it was just you and me with, crazy aspirations of let's do this, let's do that. And we needed somebody with drive. And yeah, I remember you said,
Zenn
I know a
has been one of my best friends for this point for 15 years. It'll be 15 years this year. I met him in 2010 at the junior college. It was a business administration class. And
was this around the time you were doing music theory and stuff?
Yeah, it was exactly that time, actually.
Well, wasn't he, because he knows you from music theory stuff.
No, we met in that business class. He didn't end up taking the theory classes until later, a couple of years later.
Wow.
So I was the one that convinced him to do it.
Oh.
I was like, hey, this is...
You're a musician. This is good.
We had become friends in class because he had a very alternative look to him. Not quite metalhead, but he has a very, I'd say, like alternative aesthetic that kind of has a little bit of Japanese flair to it as well.
Well, he does like anime. But you like anime too, so.
But yeah, that's the kind of stuff that he's into, and counterculture people, right? They're just like attracted to each other.
Yeah, but he also likes metal. He also likes
he likes metal and rock and all that. And in that class, we did some sort of like presentation or something where we had to find a product and then explain how it's marketed or whatever using like the rubric from the class. And I remember he had this company that he chose. It was like a boot company, but it was like really cool designs, but it had like the whole goth aesthetic to it. So I'm like, all right, this dude's probably into rock, probably into metal. Like, so we just started shooting the shit, I said what's up to him a couple of times. We didn't end up becoming friends in that class. It wasn't until a math class that we had together, like maybe a year or two later.
Hey, I know you.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's exactly what it was. Like, yeah, I remember that.
Hey, you're that guy.
Yeah, because he had he had that same cool aesthetic and whatever. And, I was like, oh, that dude's cool, and he was a nice guy. So I'm like, shit, I'll, see what's up and hang out and stuff. And
he is the nicest guy.
Well, it's one of those things where a true friend is someone that you can stop talking to for a minute for like 6 months. Yeah. And then when you see that person, it's like you're picking up right where you left off.
Sure.
And it's been like that with he and I like several times to the point to where we were just like, all right, we're just best bros forever, dude. Like, we're like workout partners. And
so you wanted him in the band simply because he was a friend of yours and he could play guitar.
Yeah. It was just a natural thing. It was just like, I have this friend who's motivated. He plays guitar. He's into the same kind of music as I am. If I'm going to start a new band, he's who I want to be my other guitarist. So I called him and he was like, hell yeah, I'll do it.
So that, I think, brings us to where we started working on music. And
Okay.
you were really into working on the music by yourself. And I remember that Zenn went over to your house and wouldn't leave until you had finished like a song or something.
Yeah.
I wasn't involved in any of this. You two did that on your own.
We had like weeks of that. It used to be really hard for me to get motivated to write songs because of my artistic self-criticism, that like voice in the back of my head that's like, this isn't good enough, or people aren't going to like this.
This isn't
or
good
whatever.
enough. I'm not good enough. The double questioning.
Yeah, not to get into like the deep shit here, but here we go. Since we're laying it all out on the table. No.
So how did that make you feel?
When you have those barriers to creativity, that basically stifles the production, because everything that you make, you second guess and throw away. I mean, I've had many nights over the years where I would sit down at a computer and try to write riffs for the band, and I just wouldn't be able to come up with anything. Either I wouldn't noodle anything that sounded good enough to record, or maybe I'd record, a couple of riffs or whatever, and then I'd go back and listen to them later and I just hated them or whatever. And that just kind of started this cycle of the fear that I would sit down at a computer and waste, 6 hours.
Yeah.
And get nothing out of it.
Yeah.
So it's like, why the hell am I going to do that when I could just go play video games, or I could noodle around on guitar, or, go do something else that actually makes me feel good other than suffering existentially trying to write music that I'm not going to like anyway, Yeah, that's a shitty thing to deal with as a creative person.
Yeah.
And it's even more difficult because I don't perceive myself as a creative person in the same way that maybe some people are. Like my buddy Nathaniel, like he's the kind of person that I would label as creative. He seems to be the kind of guy that creating music is like a need for him, It's like he's going to do it regardless of what anybody else thinks or what he thinks of it or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like there's this need to produce music. And for me, it was never like that starting guitar. It was always, I have to create this thing because what I want to do is go and play shows. What I want to do is play guitar.
Yeah.
Because that's what I really love doing, Like I used to love sitting in my room, and we have a cat and he's loud.
Hi. Come on in.
Let's see if he goes somewhere else and meows.
Where is he at?
He's right
there he is. So, introduce. That's Sam.
This is my boy, Sammy. He will most likely make many appearances. But yeah, music, something I love listening to, something I love playing along to, and I love playing shows. But the creative element for me has always been difficult, especially at that time. And that's why Zenn would be over at my house, cracking the whip for me, being my accountability buddy, because I would have that same problem.
I just remember him telling me that he wouldn't leave, and you finally finished whatever song you were on.
Yeah.
And you basically just looked at him and said, "Get the fuck out of here." And he said, "Well, are we done?" And you said, "Yes, we're done." And then he left for the night.
Well, and it was great because it was a very deliberate process, and when you have someone else there who's kind of like forcing you to sit down and be creative and to, what's the word I'm looking for? To dispense with your insecurities and just forge on. That is often what an artist needs to produce something, I think. And it's gotten to the point for me now where it's just like, if I sit down and write something, I can write for hours with no problem, because I'm not worried about whether or not anybody else is going to like it. I'm not worried about whether it's good enough for me, or, whether I'm talented enough and if I'm showing my talent or any of that stuff. It's not about that anymore. So that has broken my chains, so to speak, and freed me to actually create stuff.
See, that's good. That's good. I know it took you a long time to get there.
Yeah. And I think that ironically, that is the catalyst for the true change that allows you to get to the point where you can write good stuff. Not necessarily that dropping the need to produce good stuff or that you perceive that other people will think is good. Not that that's necessarily the switch that you flip to write good music, but you have to build your skills up over time. You have to build your ability to craft songs up over time. And unfortunately, you have to write a lot of shit that sucks before you can.
Oh, yeah.
You might catch lightning in a bottle every now and then, but that's not every day, especially when you're not practiced for years at.
From my own perspective, to learn how to write lyrics, God, that was a slog.
Yeah.
How do I articulate what I want to say or what I'm thinking into this thing?
Yeah.
And, luckily, I've been blessed with the many guitar relationships that I've had with my guitar players.
Yeah.
To where they produce good stuff, they give me good fodder, and they give me an infinite amount of patience.
Mm-hmm.
And, like yourself, I've never had any of you guys really question what I write.
Yeah. I mean, maybe we'll suggest an edit here every now and then,
But I'm open to that kind of stuff. I'm open to edits. If you've got a good idea and it must serve the song. If it doesn't serve the song, why are we doing this?
Yeah.
It's not about the band. It's not about the ego. It's not about my ego. It's definitely not about your ego. It's what is best for that song. Somebody is always going to have the better idea. Yeah. Maybe it's not apparent right at that moment, but somebody is going to have a good idea, and you're always searching for that lightning. So when that lightning hits, you have to grab onto it and go and pull it down, stuff it in your pocket and say, you're not fucking going anywhere. I'm going to use this.
One thing that I think is interesting is that music, when we talk about harmony and melody, is, I think, a lot more intuitive to everyone than lyricism is.
Sure.
It's something to where I feel like I'd have some difficulty trying to throw suggestions out for different lyrics at the level that you write them, because I'm not really trained in simile and metaphor and structure, iambic pentameter or what have you.
It's poetry. It's your girlfriend and I have had conversations about that.
So it's almost like I don't really have as good of a compass for what's good on, a lyric sheet.
To tell you the truth, neither do I.
Well,
I have always just studied at the altar of people whose songs I like.
Yeah.
If they're are they a good representation of that art form? Mm-hmm. It doesn't even necessarily mean they have to be great singers. Yeah. Are they good at writing words? Are they good at getting those thoughts onto paper? See, you do a similar thing with music. You are able to pull notes, and I don't know where they come from for you.
Yeah.
You just pull them out of the air. This is how I think it happens. You're pulling them out of your consciousness and putting them to the technique. You're letting that technique wrangle those notes from wherever they come from.
Well, I've studied a lot of theory and done musicianship training, like ear training and sight singing and that kind of, and like improvisation. So my skill set is more geared towards being able to name like a musical pattern and then use it, right? Like
I know that pattern.
Yeah. So I know that if I start on a particular chord, I know some, if not most, of the possibilities of where that chord can go within its functional context. Mm-hmm. Now, music's it doesn't really have any rules. You can do whatever the hell you want with it. But there are guidelines to it.
So it's more like guidelines instead of rules. It's like the pirate code.
Well, music theory is not a set of rules that a person has to abide by to create good music. Mm-hmm. It's more like a system for describing the patterns that we see in nature. So anything that you do musically can be explained theoretically. I mean, assuming that you're not doing something crazy, like messing with tunings to the point to where it doesn't even make sense or, anything like that. But if you pick up a guitar and play a random sequence of notes, or you play it on the piano, you can look at that random sequence of notes and it'll make sense in some certain context. Not only will it make sense in a certain context because of the way that the notes relate to each other, but you can reharmonize that same melody to make it make sense in maybe an infinite number of contexts. Music theory is just our way of describing how the notes relate to each other.
How we do the things we do. Because I know plenty of artists from my time doing music who are, for lack of a better phrasing, untrained.
Yeah.
They're gifted in what they do because they can create music without having any kind of formal training whatsoever.
Yeah.
I feel that I fall more into that one than I fall into yours. I have not really ever trained myself the way you have. I mean, I've trained myself in my particular niche.
Yeah.
But like, for instance, I asked you, let's just break the fourth wall here. I asked you for music for the podcast. You just made it.
Yeah.
I don't know how you did that.
Well, I think it's a combination of two things. The first thing is that after you have heard so many examples of songs or riffs or the way that a scale is played or the way that the chord progression is played, you then begin to be able to generate it in your own consciousness. So you have all this background repertoire that's informing that oralization, A-U-R-A-L.
Yeah.
So you can kind of hear the song in your mind. Now, I could always do that with songs that I knew from other artists, and most people, I think, can. In fact, I think it's kind of interesting if someone can't hear the song in their head.
Some people don't have that.
Yeah.
I haven't met one yet.
Right. But as your vocabulary develops and as your musical ear develops, you begin to be able to generate that with greater and greater clarity. Like, I can generate music in my mind right now that's much more clear than I could say when I was like 17, just starting to take music classes. And it's a lot less fuzzy now than it was back then because I had a limited vocabulary and I had a limited understanding. So the second piece of that formula is being able to understand what it is that's going on up here. Because it's one thing to, oralize a riff in your head and want to write that down, but it's another to be able to go, okay, I know what all these notes are. I know how this can be played at the guitar. That's the point where I got to with that, introductory song was I thought of the riff and I was like, all right, I know what that sounds like. And then I thought, okay, what notes are these? And I know with the guitar what they are because I've played, similar stuff so many times that I'm just like, yeah, that's where that riff is. So I was able to record it.
To me, that is nothing short of magic. Like that, to me, it's magic. But again, anything that is not fully known is indistinguishable from magic.
Yeah, I don't really particularly think my musical training is all that advanced or complex. It
probably not, but it's more than most people would ever venture into.
Well, it's certainly more than the layman would venture into.
Yeah.
And it's certainly more than somebody who's casual about playing would. And fortunately or unfortunately, many, if not most of the bands in our niche are very casual about music. They don't really...
It's a get out there and do it mentality rather than a let's practice for 16 hours a day type thing.
The thing is, I'm a music nerd. I'm not a true dyed-in-the-wool rocker. I am in the sense that that's what I grew up with and that's what I've been into my whole life, thanks to my dad.
Yeah.
But I was never about the metal culture. I was always more about the academic rigor of guitar playing. And
I just wanted to get out and play.
Yeah.
So I was thrown directly into the culture. That's
Yeah.
all that I ever wanted out of it. The fact that I became competent in one way or another,
Yeah.
it was a burden of necessity so that I didn't feel like an idiot, so that I actually could contribute. And I didn't realize until much, much, much later how rare that is, I guess, because I've been told on many occasions, you're a vocalist that actually picks up things. You don't just stand there with your thumb up your ass holding your microphone.
Yeah.
You actually help things. I mean, good God, I have helped us technologically get to a different point because I do have a predilection for technology.
Yeah. I mean, the level of investment of time and energy and money that you've put into upgrading our tech game, not only for the band, but also for, I mean, just this, has been monumental.
I like making things easier. I mean, we have in our house, we don't have a full blown smart home. It doesn't know where we are and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But we got lights that turn on and off by themselves. And we've got, TVs and different things that are voice controlled. And it's because A, I like that stuff. B, I know how to program it. C, I find it cool. And I've always wanted that. So on the first side, I like to do vocals, but I also like to do techie stuff. At that point, okay, we've covered most of that stuff. So let's take a little break from that.
Sounds good.
All right.
We'll be right back.
Where did we go? We're not here. Okay, so we've covered pretty much our history of the band, as it were.
Yeah.
I'm in it. You're in it. Zenn is now in it.
Well, when Zenn joined, we were actively looking to complete the lineup because we're like, okay, we have a direction. We're starting to write some songs. Like, what do we want to do with this going forward? Do we just want to write a couple of songs, record some shit, or do we actually want to go out and play some shows? We're like, all right, well, we want to play out because for me, especially at the time, that was really important. Playing shows is just something you do with a metal band. It's like, so. But this is also, this time was a time when social media was very different than it is today. This was a time where Instagram had only been big for a couple years.
I don't even think Facebook had bought Instagram by that time.
No, this was long before that. And this was, I think if I remember correctly, you could only post I don't even know if you could do videos at this time on Instagram.
I don't think so. I think that came after they bought Vine.
Yeah. So the whole online only era of the metal band, as it is today.
Guys getting famous just from YouTube videos. That wasn't, right. I don't remember that happening where you had to have still a lot of old media and new media combining before you could get.
Yeah. And this was long before the great changing of 2020.
Yeah.
So, we're old men and this was a different era. But
back in my day, we had to crawl 3 flights of stairs up just to take a piss.
Back in my day, we just wanted to play shows. But that's how it was. We wanted to play shows. We wanted to write music, post it on social media, whatever. It was a different landscape.
We were trying to find a bass player at that time.
Yeah.
And somebody that would mesh well with the three of us, because by that point I had met Zenn. I had become fast friends with him because we thought and spoke on the same level.
Yeah,
and you two are like the brothers that I didn't know I ever had. We had this dynamic, and we made it clear that if we're going to be in a band together, it's got to be with people that we can hang with.
Yeah.
And we've said this many, many times, and why we've gone on the different hiatuses that we've gone on. We're friends first, bandmates second.
Yeah.
And I've always wanted that because I've always been on the other side of that transaction where we're bandmates first and the product matters most. And it never works out because there's so much resentment that grows. We're friends first, bandmates second. Band always has to come second, and to the detriment of our art most times. I mean, it's taken us years to get anything out. I was talking to a coworker. I was the scary dude up at the front of the store who made sure you didn't steal anything.
I remember those days.
At that point, I had adopted that position because that was how I make my money.
Yeah.
And it's not hard for me to be scary. I just have a dour look on my face and everybody assumes that, I'm the devil himself, but it's not true. I could care less. He was in the store and I was training him to do what I do. He was working sometimes in the car audio section, sometimes up at the front desk area, kind of policing everything. And we got to talking about music, and come to find out he's really into rock, metal, hip hop, which was a strange one for me because I like hip hop, but like 90s hip hop.
Yeah.
It's not the same thing as nowadays hip hop or even then-a-days hip hop. It's a completely different animal. I dropped your name. I was like, oh yeah, I'm in a band with Nick LaSalle. And he just goes, oh, he's my cousin. And I said, the fucking what now?
Yeah.
And he goes, well, you're not really my cousin, but my cousin. And he explained it to me, and I was still blown away that he even knew who you were. I brought him to a practice. He walks in with a bass in hand, and you were just like, oh shit, I know that guy.
Yeah. Because you had mentioned to me that he said he was my cousin.
Yeah.
And I'm like, the fuck are you talking about? Who the fuck is this guy who says he's my cousin? Like, what? I'm just like, no, he's got to be mistaken. Because I had met him, a couple of times beforehand, but this was years ago. This was back when I was in high school.
Okay.
Where down the road from the high school that I went to, it was kind of like the details are so foggy, but
that's age, my friend. That's age.
Well, we're talking what, 2006, 2007, around
I wasn't
this time.
even out here yet.
So this was, almost 20 years ago.
Wow.
We were both hanging out at this lady Colleen's house. I don't remember. I think, like I said, the details are foggy. I think Colleen was his stepmom. It's something like that. And
so are you related to him or not?
I'm not related to him by blood.
Okay.
But I'm pretty sure Nick's dad was married to my dad's stepsister. So it's like we're cousins by marriage, but then
cousin-in-law by marriage.
That dissolved. I got to ask him about this. Maybe in the next episode, I'll have asked him. We're going to see him tonight. So I'll ask him and I'll be like, oh no, I messed up. It's actually this, but so of course, when he showed up, I recognized him immediately. I'm like, yeah, I remember that guy.
But he told me that he was primarily a guitar player. He wasn't a bass player. But is that normal for like guitar players to be bass players?
I don't think so. Not in my experience.
Because I know some pretty fantastic bass players. Don Slater from Battlecross, who used to be in the band 10 Count, that we shared a practice space. All Else Fails way back in the day. Yeah. Shared a practice space with his band 10 Count, and then he went to join the band Battlecross. Don Slater is a god at that instrument. Yeah, he's Les Claypool level. Yeah. I don't know, or Ryan Martini from Mudvayne level. Like he's that kind of level of bass.
Virtuosic for sure.
Prado is more like he plays in the pocket, but he plays really well. And I've said it many times. I've said it to both Zenn and him, that the fact that they can even keep up with you is a testament to how good they are at their instruments. Stroke your ego. Ego. I don't mean to do that, but that is what it's like. You know, you are a known entity around here.
Yeah, I think that Nick Prado is probably, he's definitely top 3 most reliable people I've ever met in my life.
Yeah.
Integrity, you know, when he says he's going to do something, it's done.
Yeah.
He does it.
He does it.
When there's a communal bill that we all have to pay, he's the first one.
Yes,
and he's quiet about it. He's paid that shit 2 weeks in advance, and he's been doing it for years.
On the down low.
And he has that same ethic when it comes to his playing. If I say, hey, I need you guys to learn this song by this date, he's on it. And if he doesn't have it,
something has to have happened.
That he couldn't. For whatever reason.
Or he's on it. Or he's still in the midst of it.
Yes. I mean, like, just incredibly reliable, incredibly personable. And I mean, he's one of my heroes, man. He's just got
just somebody to randomly meet again at my job.
Yeah.
Just that place has been good to us as far as finding people.
Yeah, fair enough. You know, I guess Best Buy had a real hand in and let's be honest, it's not just Exemplar, like that's a big part of it, but you know, our lives have all intertwined at different points, you know, for the better.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool linking it all back to that.
It's kind of weird to think about all that stuff, you know, think about the past and how all of these different timelines converge.
Yeah. Well, shit, we haven't thought about it in a while.
No. It's all been about work. It's all been about getting this done. I mean, the stretch that we've gone on just in the last 2 years, for everybody who is watching this, we've been working on music now for 2+ years now. We have not played any shows. It's all been about crafting songs. The songs that you guys can go on Spotify and listen to, go on Apple Music or whatever platform you want to, because they're on every single one of them. Those songs were kind of more just a litmus test to see if we could catch attention. If we had the right idea, if what we were doing was even going to relate to people in any way, shape, or form. And we've been pleasantly surprised because we don't have the money behind our stuff to promote it.
Yeah.
So all of the reach that we've gotten with the small audience that we have has all been organic.
Well, and it's nice to know that our stuff's resonating with people.
Sure.
It's nice to know that, you know, they're giving it repeat listens and it's, you know, touching a nerve, as it were.
Not 1 Pete, not 2 Pete, but a minimum 8 Pete.
Because it makes me want to do it more. You know,
well, and I think that's probably gotten you over your hurdles of second guessing yourself.
Yeah, it's a big part of it. You know, there's also therapy, but
how did that make you feel? Accomplished.
Yeah, it does feel good. And I'm excited to get this new batch of songs that we've crafted out.
Because we've been working hard on them.
And there are a lot of them.
Yeah.
You know, we may have 4 or 5 songs up online now, but I mean, we've got 12 kicking around.
God, I can't even think about that.
Yeah.
It's just that there's so much work to do. Much work to
and
do.
Our tools are better.
Yeah. Well, you know.
You can see the electronic drum kit behind me, you know, it's like that's getting utilized well to craft this record. So
sure.
I think we're going to be really proud of it.
I think that's probably where we want to end this podcast.
Do we know which one's the Ogre yet?
I don't think so. I don't.
Maybe next time.
So you and Nick are related by marriage. How?
Because my mom, oh Jesus Christ, I'm trying to remember. So my stepbrother's mom's, it's something with your dad, right?
Yeah.
Amber's related to Kathy somehow? Are they step siblings?
Step siblings.
Okay,
yeah.
so that's what, yeah. So, my stepbrother's mom is Nick's dad's
Stepsister.
stepsister, yeah.
Okay.
So that's
That lives in the house that fucking Jack built.